All right, your boy, where is this going with another video on what is this series called again? Oh, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And let me tell you right now, they put the bizarre in this chapter. So shout out to my homie. I didn't check. See, if you've never been a YouTuber, it has a filter that filters out comments that you have responded to naturally when you click the comment section. So for some reason I didn't see this comment till way later on. Uh, Obviously just yesterday. And shout out to the homie TGRGJII with the Diavolo, I think it's Diavolo cover, and put me on to the new chapter 91. I need like some kind of manga alert every week or every month. It tells me when these things are coming out because I keep on forgetting. But shout out to him for notifying me. Uh, so I guess he had this theory that Toru's gonna be a rock human, and showed Yasuho the picture to attract the head doctor, which makes sense because the stand did pop up towards the end of chapter 90. Um, but as we got out, well, I guess I'm getting to chapter 91 now. But anyway, that isn't what exactly happened in 91. But as he said, be warned, chapter 91 is kind of crazy. He was definitely correct. So now we go back to chapter 91. And I'm just going to try to go through this a little bit quickly because while this is another short chapter, it is certainly thick. I'm talking like anti Emily Ratajkowski thick. And if you don't know who Emily Ratajkowski is, she's very damn near anorexic. So anyway, that didn't deliver what I thought it was. So we saw the rain come in, and I think our first belief with most people, their first belief was that this rain equals she's about to get sliced up like Josuke and Mamazuku did, which as you can see she is the opposite of sliced up right now. Which is interesting because we see her discuss Mitsuba and the picture, and we see her still thinking about this. How is it that you're discussing? She's still discussing the guy, the head doctor Satoru, and then Toru comes out. I want to help you guys. What he's been doing. He's getting a little bit suspect. I can't say. I don't know. I feel like now maybe the wording is what's key here. She's not actively thinking at this moment, I need to find out who the guy is. She's thinking about his identity in the sense that she's thinking about how he looks like. She's thinking mainly about Mitsuba though, and she's thinking about the Higashi Katas. While currently her stand's going to go find Mitsuba, I believe. Yeah, it must be targeting Mitsuba. I know I'm going this pretty fast, but that's Paisley Park going to see Mitsuba. And, at no point, and it's in the wording, no point is she actively saying, I need to go to the hospital to go find the doctor. These are the words that Josuke and Mamazuku kind of going off of that got them touched up by the autonomous stand. So I think that's what's key. I think this is how the stand works. It has to be a certain wording that activates it, and she's not looking for identity. That's what's important here. So maybe I'd have to go back to chapter 90 to see. I guess I could right now, but I kind of want to. At the end of it, it seemed like she was actively thinking about pursuing the head doctor, and maybe that's why it looked so much more ominous. However, maybe Toru. Here's my theory on just this first nugget of the chapter. First, as you could say first third, because this is 3 acts. This chapter is based around this first act. I think this is Toru knowing how the stand works and actively throwing off Yasuho so she doesn't think about pursuing the guy. I think Toru is still in cahoots with the head doctor. I just think he's not. He knows how the stand works and he doesn't want Yasuho to get cooked. I think he will try to find some way to go with her and the gang to go find the head doctor whenever they end up doing this as a unit. Um, and he's going to try to, I guess, maybe get Josuke and them killed, but try to save Yasuho if he can. That's just my thought process. So we go from that to it appears that she's convinced Toru to take her to the Gashikata estate, and we see like the ambulance and the doctor, or ambulance and the police going in the background there. Uh, usually when you see something like that in JoJo's, it's connected to something else. So maybe that's them taking Josuke to the ER. And you would think enough time has passed roughly between maybe these things are all happening simultaneously, but I guess it's somewhat possible that they're taking Josuke. It's 50-50, I guess. So this is where it gets crazy, right? So we get to this and we have her touching this is important, I feel, for whatever reason. We have her touching Ojiro, looking at the newspaper, looking at Ojiro and his side piece that got cooked by her father or his father. I keep on forgetting that Tsurugi is a male sometimes. Tsurugi's father, Jobin, and this when I first saw this right here reminded me of when Jotaro gets cut up by Maid in Heaven in part 6. But we keep on going. This reminds me of Speed King, how he boils somebody up, like what happened with Kitane, but that wasn't it either. It seems like he's just going through pain, and as we later find out, it's because of the interminable disease that's affecting him. And I guess it works in really weird ways. Because I mean, it's like eye injury and then skin bubbling up. It's weird, but nobody did anything wrong. Nobody not died. I think this is his because he knows who this person is, right? Because this person worked at the school, I believe. Um, I think he's having second thoughts about. I think he knows that Jobin killed um, this woman as well as Ojiro, and he's kind of have second thoughts about that. But as we see, we saw a couple pages ago, or last page, I believe, Paper Moon King, I like to call it Kyokusoi Getsu, coming back, and I think it's kind of symbolic because I mean, while the thing is always there, we'll see pretty soon that I mean he's literally turning into it. So we see Mitsuba. I think we'll see a lot. I predicted in the last chapter we'll see a lot more Mitsuba. She have a very important role, and Mitsuba steps in. I think it's like our first time really seeing her have significant prowess in the Higashikata estate. Like, we've never seen her really do anything other than just be there in Higashikata estate. So I'm trying to say he's out here feeling the effects of the the disease really breaking his body down. Um, and then we see Mitsuba coming upon the newspaper. McCoran side piece died with Sasame Ojiro. I don't see based on cerebral infarction, all of this. I don't think that Mitsuba knows about Jobin Stan in the same sense. I don't think Jobin knows about Mitsuba Stan. And then she sees Josuke Higashikata, shout out to Josuke, out there. And I think, much in the same sense that Josuke is putting together the newspaper that he read and all these things happening before that Stan attacked him in chapter 89. I think the same thing has happened here where she's putting all these things together, all these coincidences together. Golly, man, Mitsuba is thick as hell. Jesus Christ. This is Higashikata genetics, man. Listen, that Dia 16, right? But I mean, come on, man. A Japanese 16 is like an American 34. Dia is ridiculously built. I'm gonna just put down the wax right now. Now I may have to go back in time and censor that if I ever get famous, but goodness gracious. So we have Jobin still. I believe we saw in chapter 89 or 88, one of the two, that Mitsuba got a peek at the Rokaka plant. This woman is still riding for Tsurugi as we had before. I don't remember. I think there was a panel where the doctor flashed at the Iron Gate after that kid got killed by it or whatever. But I don't understand the relevancy of the doctor being the gate. Like I don't. What does he have to gain from that? But anyway, we're connecting that. Mitsuba herself wasn't at the school when that happened, but Tsurugi, of course, was. So as we continue on this chapter, we're going to see, I believe, the next page that the doctor is at the Higashikata estate, such as we saw. I think it was ahead of time where Tsurugi saw him in the same estate. But I believe that was forward in time. But yeah, through line, things coming together. Mitsuba kind of piecing things together. Her daughter is friends with Miwa-chan. Her daughter got eviscerated, and now McCoy obviously got the same factor, although by two different people. So we continue going through, and I'm just try to speed up a little bit. She looks outside. She sees the head doctor. You know, and the head doctor. I don't believe this is his first time. Either either he comes ahead of time, like forward in time. He comes like a little bit later in time. But in an earlier panel, he was in the Gachikata state. I just don't remember when that was sequenced. But I believe that's forward in time. But either way, I still think this is not his first time being at the Gachikata state. Head doctor, what is he doing here? Why is he on our property? And this comes back to the wording. He was there back then. He kind of flashes back to her. Um, what is he doing? My husband has something to hide, and she's asking all these questions, and then boom, gets attacked. I believe that the word is all in the wording. She was asking a lot of questions. Why is he here? Why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? Opposite of what Mitsuba was doing. Mitsuba was not necessarily asking why the doctor's doing this or that, trying to come to some kind of conclusion about the doctor. I mean, not Mitsuba, Yasuho, early in the chapter. Mitsuba was and is asking all these questions, and I think that is why she's getting pieced up right here. We see the stand continue to make basically a bomb, essentially. The doctor appears to be walking off. I don't. It's weird because like it, he doesn't know where the Rokakaka plant is at, right? Like he doesn't have any idea where it's located. He does know it's somewhere with the Higashikatas apparently, but the only way for him to ever really find out, because you would think at this point he knows that it's not planted outside in the trees, the rest of the plants. If he has any communication with rock humans, he should know that by now. So he made no effort to get inside, with his stand, I would believe he could probably get inside very easily if he wanted to. But Mitsuba's still seeing him there. He's still just kind of posted up. I think maybe he had some intention of killing Mitsuba to make his job easier, but she definitely has some relevancy to his end goal of getting the Rokakaka, as Yasuho deduced. And then, she kind of tried to rationalize what just happened, distracted by the doctor, this happened, then it happened to boil over. Or she got attacked. Some powers connecting this. What's the head doctor doing over there? I think he tried to set her up to get her cooked. And then at that time, Mitsuba happens to come back in. I think if her focus wasn't broken, she might continue to be attacked. But this panel, I don't understand what this panel exactly meant. This is where it gets back bizarre. Because we have all this water, right? I assume oil and water. It might be oil. It might be the oil that kind of like what just, transpired here. The consistency makes me think it's like oil. Because water doesn't really like, you know, I don't feel like water, it seems a little stickier than water, right? But that's just me. So we go on, and this water kind of drips by her. I heard a loud noise, blah, blah, blah. And we get more drips. And I think this is significant because, as you see, hold on. Who's this? That nose has to be Sarugi, right? It can't be Mitsuba because her nose isn't, her nose isn't fits. That Yeah, that's Sarugi. Okay, that's Sarugi. I think the only significance of that is that the water, if it was still affected by the stand, would have maybe cut Sarugi. That's all I could think. I don't really understand the relevancy of that panel, but she passes out right after he passes out right after, and we kind of get this moment where I believe that's the doctor. I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's a doctor. And we kind of get that, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I actually don't know what that is, but I assume it's a doctor. So we get this right. So okay, so where did the drop touch? It touched him right here, and then he gets this hole in his face right here. I would be under the impression that much like what happened with Josuke and them, that hole came from the water being affected by the stand. But I don't know why, because much with the police that was there at the scene of the crime, when things happened, they didn't get hurt by the water. So I don't know why she'd get hurt or he'd get hurt by the water. But I don't know. So either way, it doesn't really matter because right after we get this moment where he starts beginning to turn into what they said was a crane, I believe, like all out, and he would explain in this next page. I like how she's asking for the head doctor. Like he booked it. He had no other reason to be here. Is there anyone outside? See, she didn't know, or he didn't know that about the head doctor. I don't see why the stand would hurt him, but the stand clearly seemed to have went through his face because of the water, because that's how the water acted with Joe and them. So yeah, we also have the disease that happens to affect him at the same time as the water impeding him or impaling him, and he is turning into one of his creations. Disease is finally getting at him. We can just keep on going through. Kim kind of trying to kind of console Mitsuba. Jobin comes in, and I think at this point we start getting Jobin having to think to himself, do I have to feed Sarugi the plant, the tree? I think it's coming down to it, man. He was sweating a couple panels ago. I think he realized he got to give it the fruit, but I don't know if the fruit is like ready yet. Because it seems that the fruit is supposed to build up to a final level where it can completely heal the disease without, it having to be, all these weird after effects or whatever. I think that's what we're looking for. But I don't know if Jobin will get the time to do it. However, we do know because of the panel that came out a couple chapters back where Tsurugi was standing over Norisuke's body that Tsurugi was okay then, and that was ahead of time from this panel with this whole chapter. So it's possible that the plant is fed to Tsurugi. That's my thought process. So yeah, he's there at the same time as Akifu Satoru. We see a panel of Satori and take a picture taken out of him. Right there. He's kind of like not really. He looks at the thing for a second, the camera for a second. He looks right back away. Just weird menacing kanji in the background kind of way. Police still there because of Josuke. Who he is a fugitive, so they can't just let him go away. But we get this part where Josuke says "F that noise," hits him up with a bubble, and I guess just knocked his ass out real quick. I will say this stand, they've done a good job making this stand just so versatile in so many different ways. Because I originally thought reading into this series in this part, I know all stands have been a lot weaker than in previous parts, but they've made this a very useful fighting stand. Um, in a multitude of ways. I say they, you know, you know what I mean, Iraqi. But he's made his stand work in a lot of different ways. It's kind of like a James Bond movie. So I kind of mess with that. That's pretty cool. Um, and just going off of that, we get to this last few parts. Even though when I pursue something always crashes into me, it looks like I managed to get close to the head doctor, or so he thought, because the unconscious guard is activated by the stand and beats the mess out of Josuke. All the same. Yeah, I think once she woke back up, I think once he awakened, that his intent continued. So the stand got him. His intent continued. I think if he just woke up and was like, I don't want to find the doctor, he would have been fine. But he just went right back to what he was doing. He didn't beat the system. It's kind of like Final Destination, in my opinion. So that's about it for this chapter. And then we got some more comments. Try to hurry this up a little bit. Activate Ian because Josuke is getting closer to him. There you go. Unconscious body of police officer, kind of just like the body of that dude who was at the bus stop. Hey, he almost hit him, I believe, or something like that. A couple chapters back when they were at the hospital the first time. All three of them. So Yeah, this was a pretty good chapter. It furthered a couple of storylines all at once, pretty, I guess, convincingly and nicely. And also, honestly, in my opinion, raised a lot more questions. But I think, everything seems to be moving in a pace where Araki knows what he wants to do with this landing, or this ending. He wants to stick the landing, and I think he can do it with this. I don't know how many more chapters it'll take because I feel like from chapter to chapter, I'm like, oh, it'll only take him 10, or it'll only take him 15, or it'll only take him 20. But with this, I'm like, he's got to need at least 10 to get everybody in the same place. Because I assume that we're going to see at least Josuke and Mamazuku again, together again. And we're going to see Josuke and Yasuho again at some point. So I think we'll see everybody back together again at some point. So we'll take at least 10 chapters to get that all popped up because they're in uh, severely different places. I don't even know where Mamazuku is at. I think he was with the cops last time we saw him. And I doubt he gonna let himself get arrested. And if he did, I'm sure he can just pop out the windows with a stand. But I mean, Yasuho's in Higashikata State, and Josuke is getting impaled by a doctor, or a police officer. So, don't see how they could possibly get by each other within the next 5 or 6 panels, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, that's just me looking at this chapter. Hope y'all enjoy. Yeah, I mean, I'm just ready for the next one. I'm just ready for the next big one. This is a really big one, by the way. I mean, it's for a lot of things. Definitely more impactful than Chapter 90 was. But you know, I'm ready for the next. Okay, when is the head doctor have to notice Josuke? Notice me, senpai. A situation like that. And we're not anywhere close to that, it seems. But anyway, hope you all enjoy and peace.